Welcome back to the Support Women DJs podcast. I'm your host, Rach Brosman, and today we are here with XKYLAR at Bash House. And Bash House is right here in Brooklyn, New York City, the first ever social impact club. And on this podcast today, if you're new to the Support Women DJs podcast, we interview women DJs about their experiences, their struggles, and of course, their successes in the industry. So today we have XKYLAR, and XKYLAR is an LA-based artist, producer, writer, DJ, and visual artist known for her genre-blending sound that fuses elements of electronic, pop, and indie sleaze. With a distinctive voice and a flair for visual storytelling, she captivates listeners with her infectious tracks, and evocative lyrics can confirm that one. She is also known for her artistic direction, creating stunning visuals for her own projects, as well as for artists like Muna, Kim Petras, Remy Wolf, and Vampire Weekend, and has played venues such as The Troubadour, Catch One, Elsewhere, Exchange LA, and many more. So welcome.
Wow, what a nice intro.
Yes.
I was like, wow, she knows so much about me.
And you've done so many things, so there's a lot to know.
Of things. It's crazy.
Yes. Today we're gonna get started with this or that.
Okay, great.
Choose your poison.
Okay, I'm scared.
Okay. Are you more energized by day parties or late night dance parties?
Late night dance parties.
Late night?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Late night girly.
I'm a night person.
Yes.
But like, I love like a late night dance party like in my apartment with like my friends or something. You know?
Yes.
Like,
are you DJing?
Yeah, but like, or it's like an aux situation where we're all just like hanging out, like sharing music. That's like kind of my favorite thing in the world.
So fun.
Yeah.
Do you prefer an epic DJ fail that turns into a legendary story, or a perfectly smooth set that no one remembers?
I don't know if I've ever had like a perfectly smooth set in my life. So
Really?
I think that one, because I think it would just be like, okay, great. I just feel like naturally, like there's always going to be like a little fuck up in a set, but I feel like that's like a part of it. No one really, no one ever notices. I feel like I literally did a set the other day where I messed up so many times and no one noticed. Cause like the DJ rig was just like so broken. I was like, yeah. And it was a 5-hour long set. So I was like, there's no way we're not going to make some mistakes. But so I'd love a perfectly smooth set just for my own self.
Yeah,
you know?
It's coming.
But I feel like that happens all the time when I'm like practicing in my apartment. I'll be like, that was the fucking best set I've ever done in my life. Like, why can't I do that?
It'll happen. Maybe today.
Maybe today.
We got a mini set coming.
I mean, honestly, I don't mind little mistakes, you know? I feel like things aren't supposed to be perfect. But
Boom.
Hey.
Quote right there.
It's my take. But I don't like practice my sets. Like I kind of just like go with the flow.
I love that.
So that's my own vibe.
Yeah. And do you prefer promoting your gigs through social media or relying on word of mouth?
Oh my God, social media. I like hate telling my friends I'm doing a gig.
Why?
I don't know. I just like, I think like
you feel like you're annoying them?
Yeah, I hate asking things of people. Where it's like, if I can just post on social media, I'm like, okay, I didn't have to do any real work here. Like, I'm just like annoying people on Instagram. I know, but I'm like asking a friend to come is like, hey, like, would you come to my party? Essentially, it's like so embarrassing. So I'm like, I'd rather just like post a bunch of stories and like hope people come. But then it's like scary because every time I'm like, is anyone coming? And then I'll do the set and people will come and I'm like, oh, didn't know people saw my stories. I feel like I see. Yeah, I treat social media as a vacuum where I'm like, no one sees this. It's a different person, you know?
Parasocial relationships. You're just like out here, people seeing your content, but they see you. No one sees my content. They see you. No, they see you.
No one sees me. I exist in a vacuum. It's only me that sees my content.
Okay.
In my little brain, that's what I think.
Okay.
That's why when I meet people that are like, I love your art, I'm like, that's crazy.
Yes.
I'm like, how do you even see it? It doesn't exist.
It exists, and I see it, and a lot of people are seeing it, and we're going to get into that because it's fantastic.
Thank you.
One more this or that question.
Okay, give it to me.
This or that, having a male DJ mansplain the DJ equipment to you or getting paid late for a gig?
Getting paid late for a gig for sure. I feel like I don't mind. I hate getting mansplained. Especially if something I know. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, if you want to teach me something I don't know, like, I'll take it. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll like use this as an opportunity to get better at something. And like, I love like having men explain things to me that I don't know, because I'm like, you know, I can always learn. But like when someone's explaining something to me that I'm like, I know about, I get so annoyed. I'm like, I can't handle it, because it happens all the time to me. So I'm like, I can't. But getting paid late, I'm like, I'll deal with it. I assume I'm gonna get paid late for anything. So
hopefully you think it'll be late. Every time it's late.
I feel like I never get paid on time. Like when I'm like, do you get paid on time? I'm like,
depends.
Yeah.
Depends.
It's just a part of the ecosystem.
Yeah. It kind of is. Okay. So you do so much. You are creative director overall. You make music. How did you learn all of these skills that you have? Photography, lighting, marketing, music. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah,
how did you learn so many skills and you're not implementing them too?
Yeah, I think I've just always been the type of person that's like, if I'm going to invest my money anywhere, time into anything, I'd like rather buy gear and like develop a skill set. And like, I've always looked at my like time as valuable. And like, for me, when it came to like needing to market myself as a musician, I just felt like when I was hiring people to do jobs for me, like they wouldn't execute it in the way I wanted it to. And I've always had the mindset where I'm like, I can teach myself anything.
That's awesome.
As long as I just like put the time into it. And so I would just like hire people or like ask people to do things for me. And I just felt like it was not done in the way I wanted it. And I'm like, I used to be way more of a people pleaser. So I just like wouldn't ask for like revisions. I just like always was getting really frustrated. And so I got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to teach myself how to do it. That way, like, I don't have to deal with this like annoying middle ground, like, you know, back and forth. And like, even with photos, like I remember I was just like, you know, photo shoots cost money and I was broke. And I was like, you know what, if I'm going to spend $300 on a photo shoot, which is cheap for a photo shoot, I'm like, I'd rather just buy a backdrop and buy like $150 lights
so you
and
do
get
your
a
own
tripod.
Photography.
Yeah, and like I would
apartment, studio.
Yeah, my apartment.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, now it's like I have friends and, you know, this is when I started doing creative direction and photo. And like, this was like 6 years ago, you know, at this point. But like, I would just shoot photos on my tripod and like with my iPhone and like with a fisheye lens that I would clip on my iPhone, and just like eventually was like, I'm going to buy a camera, and just like invested in my gear and like my skill set. And now I have all these really great skills that like I essentially ended up profiting off of and did for other artists for years.
Amazing.
And like, if I didn't invest in myself, then I wouldn't have like learned how to do visuals. Like,
so you're self-taught.
I'm self-taught. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm completely self-taught. Yeah. Wow. So, but I'm like so glad I learned all these things, because it's like at the end of the day, my skill set is like something no one can take away from me. Like, you know, and I think a lot of times, like as a female artist, like you're conditioned to believe that you're like waiting for opportunities, and you're waiting to like find that like male producer to make music for you, like find that manager. And it's like, you know what, like I want to have all the skill set, so like no one can take opportunities away from me. Like I'm creating those opportunities by creating the art. And it's like, I don't need a lot of money. I just need like me. And that feels really like exciting to be like that in control, especially like as a female in the industry.
That is amazing.
And yeah, it's been really great.
What I wonder is, how do you have time to do it all?
Yeah.
Right?
I know. It's hard.
Well, so right now you're doing for other artists and yourself?
Well, so I used to do it I was doing it for myself, and then I was working a day job, and I was like, I need money. And so I started doing it for other artists, because like they would see my photos and they were like, oh my God, can you do this for me? And it kind of like accelerated out of control to the point where I was like making so much money, and I was like, this is incredible. Like,
amazing.
But I was not doing it for myself, because it just really like takes over your life when you're a freelancer. And I was like, if I put my head down for a couple years, I could potentially get to the point where I'm successful in this, where like I don't have to work as much in order to like support myself.
And working for other people.
And working for other people. And so I kind of did that for the past like few years. And then at the beginning of this year, I felt like I was at a place where I could like work less and like prioritize my music. And I really like saved up money to like be able to like prioritize my music this year and like give myself the time. And I also think because I do everything myself, like I don't need as much money to like support my music project as other people do. So I don't have to work as much as other people.
Is it really this year that you got into your music more?
Everything changed this year, yeah.
This year?
Yeah, this
year. Why was
it
this year?
I reached this like pinnacle of my career at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Where I like did visuals for Kim Petras, and that to me felt like this like pinnacle of like what I wanted to accomplish as a visual artist for other people, because she's like one of my favorite artists. I love Kim Petras.
Yeah.
And I also just like had a really bad breakup, like
That'll
maybe the worst breakup of my life. And leading up to the breakup, I was like starting to make music again and like put myself out there as a musician, and just like in my own brain was like, I want to start making music again, but it wasn't like what I wanted. It wasn't like I see myself as an artist. So
you had in the past made music, or was it more of a new thing?
It was like, let's say like 6-7 years ago, I was trying to do the artist project.
Gotcha.
And then somewhere along the lines became a freelancer. All these people started hiring me. I got sucked into that. So then
because
for 4 years,
you were good at it,
doing visuals for other people. And then this year, I was just like, I want to reprioritize the music project and like release music consistently. I was putting out songs, but it was never like I was casual about it. I was like putting out a song here and there.
Yeah.
I was not like, I'm trying to be an artist and make this my thing.
A campaign.
Yeah.
Your Slut for President.
Yeah.
Campaign.
Slut for President campaign.
I am obsessed with that. How did you come up with that?
So silly. I don't know.
Election year.
Yeah.
Something with that.
I wrote the song. And yeah, I wrote the song and I was like, it was so out there. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can like release this. This is crazy. But it was so fun. And I was like, whatever. And then I was like, just one day, like, what if I was running for Slut President? Like, that would be so funny.
I want to see that.
And I just was like, that to me makes the context of the song a little less crazy. Like, in the context of like this funny video, I was like, oh, I can like release a song called Slut about sucking dick. Like, that's fine. And I came up with this concept and I was like, fuck it, I have to do it and really execute it. And that video was like a really intense investment of my time and energy, and like was so many favors, like just so many of my friends like helped out, and it was worth it though. Like, it was so valuable to like have something that I felt like was an encapsulation. But anyways, going back to this year though, it's like, this year was the year where like, I just was like, I'm going to work less. I'm going to prioritize my music and I'm going to make that time for myself. I also think when you get out of a relationship, you're like, I have so much time. You're like, I'm full of time. Like, you know, cause you're like, this person is now gone from your life and you're like, well, I had this whole plan and now that plan doesn't exist. So
you're free.
What if I created a whole new plan? But I feel like even like this past week, I was like, when did I become a DJ? Like, when did I decide to do this artist thing? Like, it feels like I've been in like this vortex of just like making art.
I understand that. A lot can happen in a year. I've been feeling the same in my life. It's crazy how much, when you fully put yourself into something too, and just dedicate your whole life to it. And yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing I realized too with like the visual art thing is like, I put my head down and I was like, I'm just going to give myself a year where I'm not going to do music and I'm going to be a visual artist and see what happens.
Okay.
And like everything changed within that year for me.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like approached this year with that same mindset where I was like, what if I spent a year where I committed to this artist project and just like was really hard on myself about that deadline. And like, and it's crazy how much can happen when you like hold yourself accountable to like a deadline.
Yes.
And when you just give yourself like a year to not think about like what's going to happen at the end of it. Cause I think oftentimes like you hold yourself back when you think of like,
when you're worrying about the future.
Yeah. Worry about the future too much. But like a year, it's like, what's a year? You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot, but it's also a lot can happen.
Yeah.
But it's also, if nothing happens of it, you're right. It's only a year of your entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But shit is happening.
I know. It's been really great. Yeah. It's been really great.
It'll also explain more when you say you make visuals.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly? Are you talking about visuals like background of like on stage for Kim Petras? Are you also talking about like social media visuals? Are you talking is it a number of types of visuals?
I've done a lot of different kinds of visuals for artists. Like I started doing photo and then I moved into more set design, and then from set design I got into tours.
Cool.
Because I was doing set design for touring. And then from there, some people saw that I did DJ sets where I'd do like my live visuals. And then I got into doing live visuals. And then that became like my main source of income for like
live visuals.
So like stuff like behind the artist when they're performing. So like if a pop star is singing in the mic, like the LED visuals behind them, that's like kind of my favorite thing to make. But I do like everything. And for my own project, it's like I'm doing literally everything. Like I have collaborators that are incredible. Like I could not do it without like my best friend. Like we do all the videos together, and like I have a DP that I work with that's amazing, and one of my other best friends is a photographer that's incredible. Like it is collaborative in a lot of ways, and I'm so grateful to have like
creative friends is the best. Yeah, you can come together.
And also like working with women, it's like so superior. But but at the same time, it's like I am doing everything. Like I will shoot my photo. Like my manager will be like, yeah, Skylar, like I'll text her to like have photos for this thing, and then she'll like do a photo shoot and then like send me photos the next day that are like professional, and it's like
and
just
you
funny.
Did it yourself. Yeah, that's something that not most people can say.
Yeah, and like
that are an artist.
Oh my God, that slut video was crazy because I used to do set design. Like that was like my thing. So I was like, okay, for this video, I'm gonna do set design, and like I literally spent a week like making all the posters. Like I went to a prop house and got like the podium, and then I like ordered all the like back stuff, like literally created
and it sounds
a whole
like you
set.
had a lot of fun doing it.
Oh my God, it was like a dream. I mean, like I love
you're
doing
making your
art.
dream worlds.
Yeah.
Or your vision is coming alive.
And I love doing it for other people, and it was like it's like such a privilege to get to do art for a living, and like I think it's just been like such a fun thing to be able to do it for myself again, and like be able to like take all these skills I learned and like implement it into myself, and it's really fulfilling, you know. But yeah, it's been really fun. I can't complain. So
I also just love your whole concept of sluts everywhere, sluts only, slut for president. What made you like lean into the sluttiness of it all, or like kind of make that your brand, or at least for now, or maybe that's your music right now?
No, I mean I think it is a part of my brand. I think like my project feels like an alter ego in a way, and like a version of myself that I wish I could be in my day-to-day life. And like, cause I make it all by myself, and like when I shoot photos of myself too, it's like I can kind of be this like more extra version of myself. And like when I'm making music in my bedroom, I can say things I would never say with like a guy in the room or like a girl in the room even. It's like I can be sluttier, and I can be more sexual, and I can be more confident. And I think that's like what being a slut to me is. It's like being like proud of like your sexuality and like not being afraid of it. And like that's something that like I wish I carried more in like my day-to-day life, but I feel like I carry like in my artist project. And I think like with my artist project, I like that it's like this more like confident, like strong version of myself that's like unapologetically crazy. And
yes, that is what it's giving. It's unapologetic.
Yeah,
100%.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think like for me, I grew up in a really conservative family. So like my project to me has been like about kind of like breaking the mold and like kind of rebelling. Like I love my parents, don't get me wrong, but like, you know, I think they don't understand. And like, you know, growing up, I think I felt a lot of like shame about like being more sexual, and like, you know, just shame about being an artist, because like I grew up in a very like intellectual family.
But you strike me as intellectual as well.
Sure. No, I think you can, and I think that's the thing I'm trying to say with my music is like, and I try to explain to even my parents, but I'm like, it's more complicated than that. It's not just like I'm a slut and it's like, that's it.
Yes.
It's like, I'm a slut, but there's more to me than just that. It's
and
like,
you're an artist.
I'm that, and I'm also like very intellectual and like know a lot about a lot of different things. And like, I feel like when it comes to my project, I feel like it's like about that duality of femininity too. It's like a lot of times like men try to dismiss women as sluts or like sexual as like a way to like bring them down. But it's like, well, I'm basically reclaiming that sexuality and also saying like, hey, I also produced this music. I made all the visuals. I'm doing way more technical things than a lot more men can do. And like, I deserve your respect, even if I am sexualizing myself, you know?
Mic drop. That's a mic drop.
Slay.
Oh my God. Well, I
so
definitely resonate with your music, and I think a lot of people do too, of that just, reclaiming that word and being proud of it and all the other things that you are. Because, us women, we do be doing a lot in the best way.
I know.
Yes.
I know. And I hate that, like, there's this narrative that it's like you can't be like hot and sexual and proud of your attractiveness and like also be respected. Like, I was literally having a conversation with a friend about this the other day where she was like, I don't want people to like deem me as getting opportunities because I'm attractive. And I'm like, that's such a crazy way to think, like, that we have to feel this pressure, like feeling dismissed because of like the way we look. I'm like, men don't have to deal with that narrative.
Not at all.
And I'm like, if I'm getting an opportunity, I'm getting an opportunity. And you know what? Women deserve opportunities regardless. Like, who cares if it's because they're hot?
Okay, so we've talked a lot about, being a slut in the industry.
Exactly.
But I'm wondering if you've had bad experiences with misogyny so far in your career.
So funny. I, of course, have. Yeah, all the time. I experience it a lot as a producer.
Okay.
Like, mostly when I'm just like meeting people. Like, I had this party I went to like literally 2 months ago where my friend introduced me, like my guy friend who's a producer, and he literally introduced me being like, this is my friend Skylar, she's an amazing producer. And then I'm like talking to this guy and he immediately is like, oh, like, you should like have Ari produce for you. Like, have you ever tried that? And he's like, maybe that's why your music hasn't taken off, is because like your production. Right. And I was like, actually, my music is kind of taking off. Also, like, you don't know anything about me. You just met me 5 minutes ago. Like, why are you assuming I'm a bad producer? Like, that's crazy of you. And I think just like the constant, like, when I show people my music and people are like, who produced it? Oh, you made this? Like, oh, wow.
The surprise.
That's crazy. Like, and just the constant, like, having to prove myself thing is, like, I think the misogyny I deal with the most.
Yeah.
And, like, especially, like, in a visual context, like, I dealt with that a lot in my, like, past career. Because, like, I do a lot of technical things. Like, I do a lot of, like, analog VJing and, like, routing, like, analog gear. And, like, I think people automatically assume that I don't know what I'm doing, or like that I'm just like a girlfriend of someone.
Because that's a male-dominated field.
Yeah, like, right? I've been literally backstage so many times where like I'm with a coworker, like a guy who like is at a lower position than I am, and people are like, "Oh, is this your girlfriend?" And I'm like, "No, I'm actually like his boss, but like, thank you." It's like so nice, thanks. Or like literally like have had like men not even look at me ever. Like, I've had that happen a lot where it's like I've been working with men and like they don't look at me. Or I was working on a gig the other day where I'm a very established visual artist, as I've talked about, and I did a project with a label and they literally like didn't think I could film something of myself, and they were like, well, it has to be in a really specific frame size. And I was like, okay, what's the frame size? And they're like, 5x4. This is what I do. I literally had to be like, you realize who I've shot, right? Like, I was like, I can shoot in my studio. And they're like, oh, I don't know if you have the lighting. I'm like, Kim Petras shot in my studio. Like, I think I have the lighting. Like, thank you so much. Like, that's so nice of you. I'm just doubting. Like, it's they're so just annoying. Yeah, and I just feel like, even like with my Instagram, it's like, I feel like I have to do these breakdown videos where I'm like, watch me make this video of like me being technical because you don't get that I'm doing this. You assume, and I will get like a lot of people even commenting like industry plant on my videos. And I'm like, bro, are you out of your mind? Like, I'm literally doing this all by myself. Like, I wish I had budget like that. Like, you're crazy. And so it's frustrating on that regard, but on the other end, like, it's a part of it. And like, I feel really grateful that like I surround myself with a lot of women and I choose to work with women constantly. And the men that I do work with really pioneer me and like believe in me. And like, I have had so many men like see me and see my interest in things and be like, like, how can I help you be better at this thing? Like, how can I like lend you gear? Like, how can I teach you what I know? And I think that's like, yeah. And so I think like that's an important thing to know is like, there are a lot of good men out there who I also think see that there's a lot of bad men out there, and there's a lot of bad men in this music industry and like men that just like have egos and assume that women don't know how to do anything. And like, that's So infuriating. But ultimately, it's like, I don't want to work with you anyways, so I don't care.
Yeah. I've had to cut off some professional relationships with men because, if they're not going to respect you, then what's the point?
Yeah. I know. It's just like the proving yourself. And I think with like sessions too, like, you know, something I'm trying to get better at is like when I have a session with a man as a producer, like to go in being like, I'm a producer, like I'm going to man the session too.
Yeah.
And like, you need to be comfortable with like me also being a part of it and like kind of inserting myself in those ways and like getting better at like inserting myself. And like, that's something I'm trying to improve on is just like, you know, having the confidence to be like, I know what I'm doing. And like, I'm not going to let you make me feel like I don't.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you.
It's been good. But it's hard. It's so hard.
It's hard to stand up for yourself. And I feel like I learn every day. And you have to learn how to get better and better at it every day.
Yeah, and I think it's like I make things alone in my room. So it's like I feel confident when I'm by myself. But then when there's like a guy in the room or like someone else in the room that just like makes me feel like I don't know what I'm doing, it like, you know, it's easy sometimes to like put up that blinder and be like, maybe I don't know what I'm doing. But it's like, no.
Imposter syndrome. Yeah. And all that.
And also like, what makes this random dude better than you? Like,
nothing.
What? Like, he might have more credits or more time and spent producing, which is what makes him better. But like, I genuinely believe like you can be good at anything if you put the time into it.
I agree.
So that's my hot take. But no, misogyny is the worst, dude.
It's so prevalent in this industry.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask you if you have a DJ hot take.
Oh, yeah.
Of any kind. Any hot takes on, what genres you're sick of, perhaps? What DJs are overrated, perhaps? I mean, you don't have to spill too much tea. I don't know if I have like a
DJ I think is overrated.
Maybe about the scene.
But is there anything? I think we need more fun music. Like, I'm so tired of going to DJs. And this is my take.
Okay.
I want to hear lyrics. I want to hear popular songs. I'm like, you can do a DJ set that's like cool, deep cuts, pretentious music, but like throw in a song everyone knows. Like, just like throw like an acapella of a song everyone knows, like every 30 minutes, like spice it up, you know? Yeah. Like, you don't need to be that cool. Like, I'm just over people like trying to be so cool. I think
that's why people resonate with your music too, because you put in a lot of familiar sounds.
I'm just like, I want to have fun. Like, I'm so tired of pretending to be cool, you know? Like, I just feel like that's like something that like a lot of people do in the music industry. It's like everyone's just trying to be so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're all weird. Like, we're all nerds. Like, why? We're all just like making music. Like, it's not like that serious. And like, what are we all trying to be so cool for? Like, this should just be fun. But like, that's my vibe. And I just think like,
I love that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's starting to like take form though a little bit more in music. Like, I think people are realizing that like
are being more fun.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's like a change happening right now in culture.
Why do you say that?
With like DJs and stuff. I think just like the awakening of like more, or like the onset of more like queer DJs and like queer lands, like music scenes and like the pop artists that are happening right now. You know, like Sabrina Carpenter is not very serious in her lyrics. Like Chappell Roan's fun. Like Charlie is very fun. It's like, I think that's kind of pioneering this wave of like music should be fun. And like, I think like DJ sets are just becoming, at least like I've been going to like more DJ sets. Like, I love Alex Chapman, his DJ sets, because like he definitely like throws in a lot of fun songs in there. And like within the context of like other DJs that are just performing like gnarly beats, it's like kind of nice to hear something just like fun. And I think like things are just changing in culture. And I don't know.
What about, so you are based in LA.
Yeah.
Today we're in New York. You're spending some time in New York.
I love New York. I'm here all the time.
You love it? Okay. I love it too. What's your opinion on just like LA versus New York music scene?
I think like the music scene is just different because like at the heart of LA is the industry and like the marketability of music. And I think a lot of people move to LA to like be successful as artists, which I think is true in New York too. But I think that like it lends itself to like a little bit less experimentation, I notice. Like I think a lot more people are just trying to like make something that like hits. And I think that like in New York, people are like pushing the boundaries a little bit more because I think people move here to be like artists. And there's such more of like a diversity of artistry here. Like when I come here, I'm meeting people that are like video artists that like are doing furniture design or like working in different spaces. And I think that all influences each other, where it's like, I think in the music scene, it's a lot less about like doing the cool, like pretentious thing, like, or, oh, I was at this party and like, that's a good look for me. And like, I think that's like a lot of LA, and like, that's not hating on LA. I just think that's like the reality of it. So it kind of goes back to that
cool factor.
Yeah, I think it's like a cool thing. It's like everyone in LA is just trying to be really cool. And like, you know, you go to parties and it's like, people don't dance. Like people don't feel confident enough to just be like, I'm going to be weird. And that's
not cool to me. You know, like I think what's cool is being weird and being the person dancing. So I don't know.
I mean, I think so too. And like, I think a lot of people, I'm from LA. So like I grew up in LA. Like I'm not like someone who moved there and is judging the city. I think it's just like the landscape of the city, because it's like, you know, I think a lot of good music is happening there. I just think people are like, you know, the scene itself isn't pushing. Is it the influencer
culture has been affecting it, would you say?
I actually have no idea. I'm not sure. I think it's just always been what it's like, because I think like it's a lot more like industry coded. Like it's a lot more about like doing something that looks good to a label that like then will get you signed, that will then get you famous. Where it's like, I think when I come to New York, it's just a lot of people like wearing crazy things, like putting themselves out there. Like I think there's like this thing in LA where it's like, if you wear a weird thing at a party, it's almost like, why are you wearing that? You know, where it's like here, if you wear something, it's like, whoa, you look sick. You know? And like, I just notice in the way I dress here, like I'm so much more comfortable wearing crazier things.
That's so interesting.
Where in LA, there's always a part of me in the back of my mind that's like, oh my God, is that like
insecure about it?
But I also, that's just from like the time I've spent here. But I feel like this is a common conversation I have with a lot of people. And like a lot of people who live in LA I think a lot of people who live in LA like are frustrated with LA in a lot of ways, you know? But it's a great place to live because like it's a great place to work. Like it's so easy to work there. Like just because the lifestyle is like everyone's in their house, like everyone has space. You can like make art really easily.
More space.
So it's like, I love like a balance of New York and LA. Like I'm like, I come here to have friends and hang out and meet people, be inspired. And then like, I'll go home to LA and I'll like work out and not leave my house and make a bunch of music and art.
So you can have the best of both worlds. That's why bi-coastal babes.
I'm bi-coastal girly. I know, it's so, I'm like, I hate that. One day I'll move here, but for now it's like, it makes sense going back and forth. But
well, we're glad to have you here in New York today.
I'm so glad to be here.
And at our show last night, which was epic.
It was really fun.
Do you have any exciting things coming up that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I am going on a tour. Which I don't know when this video is coming out. So I'm like,
maybe a month, let's say.
It's like in December.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going on a tour in December, opening for Evan Gia.
We were
and
just
I'm
talking
very
about
excited
Evan
about that. No way, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I love her. She's the best. So I'm opening for her. Those are like 6 dates, and then next year I'm just like releasing a bunch of music. I like really am excited about some of the songs I've been working on, and just like trying to create as much as possible. Like that's kind of my mindset. I'm just like, I want to make as much as I can, put it out, and just like keep doing shows and DJing, but mostly just like want to make as much as I can.
Yes.
Because I love making things.
Because you're a creator.
Exactly.
And can you tell the people what your socials are, where they can find you?
My socials are XKYLAR. It's XKYLAR. So like not an S, an X. And that's pretty much like all the ats. So
XKYLAR on everything.
XKYLAR MP3 on TikTok, but you'll find me. And I hope you like my stuff.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course. I'm so happy to be here.
Bye.